Welcome to part 3 of the Clyde CISD Employee Handbook Overview for August 25. Just a reminder, this overview does not replace reading and being familiar with the Employee Handbook and with all Clyde CISD policies and procedures. We will not cover all sections of the handbook today. If you do have a question about something we did not cover, see your campus principal or your immediate supervisor. First up in part 3, purchasing procedures, found on page 61. Clyde CISD policy CH legal and CH local cover the purchasing procedures for the district. If you're not aware of how to get to our board policy manual to find policy CH legal and local, please see your supervisor. No purchases, charges, or commitments to buy goods or services for the district can be made without an approved purchase order number. And I do stress an approved purchase order number. The district will not reimburse employees or assume responsibility for purchases made without prior authorization. That's very important. On page 62, you'll find the section called Resignations and a subsection on contract employees. Contract employees may resign their position without penalty at the end of any school year if written notice is received at least 45 days before the first day of instruction of the following school year. A written notice of resignation should be submitted to the superintendent. Contract employees may resign at any other time only with the approval of the superintendent or board of trustees. Resignation without consent may result in disciplinary action by the State Board of Educators Certification, or SBEC. For non-contract employees, that can be found on page 62 and 63. A non-contract employee may resign their position at any time. A written notice of resignation should be submitted to the superintendent at least 2 weeks prior to the effective date. Employees are encouraged to include the reasons for leaving the district in the letter of resignation. Page 63, dismissal and non-renewal of contract employees. Employees on probationary, term, and continuing contracts may be dismissed during the school year according to the procedures outlined in district policies. Information on timelines and procedures can be found in the DF series of policies that are available online in the district policy manual. Dismissal of non-contract employees can be found on pages 63 and 64. Non-contract employees are employed at will and may be dismissed without notice, without a description of the reasons for dismissal, or without a hearing. Non-contract employees who are dismissed do have a right to grieve the termination through the complaints and grievance policy outlined previously. Student records on page 68. All student records are confidential and are protected from unauthorized inspection or use. Employees should take precautions to maintain confidentiality of all student records. Confidentiality is paramount in a school district. All employees need to be aware of that. The following people are the only people who have a general access to a student's records: parents, the student, and school officials with legitimate educational interests. Student conduct and discipline can be found on page 67. Students are expected to follow the classroom rules, campus rules, and the rules listed in the student handbook and the student code of conduct. Teachers and administrators are responsible for taking disciplinary action based on a range of discipline management strategies that have been adopted by the district. Teachers and administrators are ultimately responsible, but it is everyone's responsibility to oversee student conduct and discipline. Student attendance can be found on page 67. Teachers and staff should be familiar with the district's policies and procedures for attendance accounting. Procedures require minor students to have parental consent before they are allowed to leave campus. Please contact the campus principal for more information. The district does have a bullying policy. The bullying section of the employee handbook can be found on pages 67 and 68. The district prohibits bullying, including cyberbullying, as defined by state law. Retaliation against anyone involved in the complaint process is a violation of district policy and is prohibited. All employees are required to report student complaints of bullying, including cyberbullying, to the campus principal immediately. You are responsible for being familiar with the district's bullying policy and all reporting procedures. If you have a question, please contact your supervisor. That is the end of this year's employee handbook overview. Again, we've just hit some high points in the handbook. You are responsible for knowing and reading the remainder of sections of the handbook. The handbook can answer many questions that you may have regarding a myriad of different topics. So I encourage you to keep it around and use it for reference when you have a question. If you do come across something you're unclear on, please see your campus principal or immediate supervisor to get those questions cleared up. Have a great year. Go Bulldogs.